Hello, welcome to my Jacob's Doctor Who Series 3, Episode 2, The Shakespeare Code. Hope you guys enjoy. Okay, the Shakespeare Code. Okay. Well, the Doctor and Martha travel to 1599, where basically Shakespeare is. And basically what happens is, there's this guy named Peter who basically goes to 4th Hollow Street. And basically, he sees this beautiful, charming girl up in a, basically, old cabin, witch cabin. And basically, what happens is, Peter basically goes into the house, and the cabin, basically, and what happens is, she invites him in, and she goes, "Mothers, come and meet my charming or whatnot," and then basically they attack Peter and then end him up in a psychiatric house because he's gone mad because he's seen witches. And basically what happens is the Doctor and Martha go to 1599, as I said, and basically it's the Shakespeare time, and basically the Doctor and Martha step out of the TARDIS, and basically what happens is they go to the Globe Theatre, where Shakespeare performs his play, and Martha and the Doctor go see Shakespeare perform at the Globe Theatre, as I said, and the Doctor and Martha basically are in the audience with the crowd, and basically what happens is, at the end of the play, Martha goes, "Author, author." And then Martha goes, "Do they shout out author?" And then basically everyone, all the crowd and the audience shout out, "Author, author." And then the Doctor goes, "Well, now they do." And then basically Shakespeare comes out and goes, "Shut your big fat mouth," which is pretty funny. I love that part. And then Martha goes, "Well, that's your inspirations, isn't it, Doctor?" Or whatever, your great people who you meet, whatever. And then basically what happens is the Doctor and Martha end up going to Shakespeare's house, and basically the Shakespeare thinks basically the Doctor's a massive, huge fan and thinks it's just the Doctor that's there. And then once he sees Martha, he's like, "Wow, look at Martha," because like back in the old days, people like that, people who are like black, basically got discriminated in the old days, and basically Shakespeare was like, "Come sit down next to me, Black Beauty," or whatever. And then basically Martha and the Doctor sit next to Shakespeare, and the Doctor shows Shakespeare his psychic paper, and basically Shakespeare goes, "It's blank." And then basically what happens is there's like this guy and who comes in because at the play Shakespeare goes he's going to be performing tomorrow night on the play his Love's Labour's Won, because there's these witches called the Carrionites who basically made a doll type thing, and basically they made Shakespeare go that they're going to perform Love's Labour's Won tomorrow night. And basically what happens is the Carrionites basically force Shakespeare to say they're going to be doing Love's Labour's Won, their lost play, which is pretty cool. That never basically came at all. So basically the Doctor and Martha stay for the night, and then there's this guy who comes in and goes, "Love Labour's Won will never be performed," which is this guy named Mr. Linley, And basically, he walks out, and one of the carrier knights, who's disguised as this beautiful woman, basically, what happens is, Mr. Lindley, basically, she steals a hair from his chin, and basically, what happens is, the carrier knight lady, basically, makes Mr. Lindley start drowning, and puts the doll into this bucket, and makes him start drowning, and basically what happens is, Mr. Lindley basically dies, and Martha tries to revive him, but there's no luck because he's already dead. So basically what happens is, the Doctor and Martha stay for the night, and basically the Doctor tells Martha that it's like witchcraft, and Martha goes, "Are you serious?" And then he was like, looked up and just was like, "Yeah." And then basically what happens is, basically Martha and the Doctor share a room, and basically Martha thinks something's gonna end up happening with the Doctor and her, but nothing really does, because the Doctor starts to mention Rose's name and goes, "Oh, Rose would know what to do." And stuff. And then basically Martha's like really pissed off, and then just goes, turns out the light, well, blows out the candle, and basically what happens is, Martha and the Doctor basically talk to Shakespeare and find out how to basically get in touch with Peter, this guy named Peter, because at the night when Martha and the Doctor were sleeping, basically there was this witch, Carrier Knight, who comes in and writes the end of the play. And basically, Martha and the Doctor hear a noise, a scream, and the maid basically ends up dying. And Martha sees the witch. That's why they have to go basically to Peter, to this psychiatric house, like, place, where people that go mad basically end up in the psychiatric place. And basically what happens is, the Doctor and Shakespeare and Martha basically go there and go to Peter, and what happens is, the Doctor does that mind thing with to Peter, and tries to find out where the witches are, the Carrier Knights are. And basically Peter says 4th Hollow Street, whatever, and then basically a Carrier Knight comes in and touches Peter on the heart, and Peter ends up basically dying. And what happens is, basically the Doctor and Martha tell Shakespeare to stop the play, and basically the Doctor and Martha end up going to 4th Hollow Street and trying to, basically destroy the Carrier Knights before they destroy the play. So basically when at the Love's Labours 1 play, the Lost play, basically the two Carrier Knight mothers are there, and at the 4th Hollow Street, there's this other other lady, the beautiful lady, who met Peter when Peter was young. Basically what happens is, Martha tries to name the Carrier Knight. She goes, "I name thee Carrier Knight." But it didn't really work. And then basically what happens is, basically the Doctor gets one of his hair pulled off, and the Carrier Knight flies out the window, and the Doctor goes, "Oh, well, that's cheating now." And then basically what happens is the carrier knight stabs the doll, and basically the doctor falls down, and basically what happens is one of the doctor's heart isn't working, so Martha basically has to like whack it into place again, and the doctor goes, bada boomba. Which I love that bit. That bit was, oh my god, I loved it. And then basically what happens is the Martha and the doctor run to the play, but Shakespeare has fallen down because the two carrier knights knocked Shakespeare out because Shakespeare was going to stop the play. And then basically the whole the witch's spell basically started working, and all these carrier knights started coming out of this like portal type thing. And then basically what happens is the Doctor and Martha make it to the Globe Theatre again to stop like the Love's Labour's 1. And then basically what happens is the Doctor goes, find the right words to Shakespeare. And then basically what happens is Shakespeare like says these like words that will stop the spell of Love's Labour's 1. And basically I love how Shakespeare ends up saying Expelliarmus, and they mention like heaps of Harry Potter and about Back to the Future stuff. Which is pretty cool. I love it. That's why I love this episode, because they mention like those like TV, like those movies, great movies that used to be out in the old days, which is cool. Then basically I love how basically they end up stopping the carrier knights, and the carrier knights end up in this like little globe type thing. Which they get stopped, and the Doctor basically puts it in his TARDIS. And then basically you end up seeing like Martha and Shakespeare sitting down and just telling jokes. And Martha goes, like Shakespeare walked in the pub and they were like, oi mate, or whatever. And which was the funniest, or another funny bit that I liked, scene that I liked. And then basically you end up seeing Shakespeare's two friends basically say, oi mate, guess what? The Queen's here. And then basically Queen Elizabeth ends up coming in. And going, Doctor, my sworn enemy. And then basically the guards basically chase after the Doctor and Martha. And then basically I rate this episode a perfect solid 9 out of 10. Funny, you see funny moments, and I just love this episode, so I rate it a solid 9 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching the Jacob's Review Show, and hope to see you guys for another review of Gridlock, which is Series 3, Episode 3. So see you guys then for another Jacob's Review Show, and see you guys then. Hope you guys enjoyed.